Hi friends, it is Thursday at 4 p.m. and it's really Thursday at 4 p.m. unlike last week. And so Thursday at 4 p.m. means it's time for getting tipsy. So here we are. I am going to do what I do every week and share this. And today is going to be awesome. I'm super excited about today. So, okay. So Thursday, 4 p.m., it's Getting Tipsy with Erin. And today's episode is about how do I know what updates to make before selling? And I get asked this all the time. Should I do this? Should I do that? What's my return on investment? Or if you hear ROI, questions about what do I do? So all great questions. If you're here, that's what we're talking about today is what updates to make before selling. Drop a question, drop a comment, send me a wave, tell me you're here. I'm going to tell you a quick story about my own life. Last summer, or last, I guess, spring, I thought about updating my kitchen and my floors and throughout the house, throughout Wayne and I's house. And as I was looking into it, it was going to cost, if we did it the way I wanted to do it, it was going to cost about $30,000 between the floors and the kitchen. So I looked at what the value of my house was going to be, and I probably at the time, this is before the market went a little nutso. Hi, Michelle. At the time, I probably only could take the value of my house up by about $10,000. So to me, I didn't want to put $30,000 in and only get $10,000 back, right? So I decided to scrap the whole idea. Well, literally the day after we made that decision, or I made that decision because Wayne was just supporting whatever I did, whatever I wanted to do, our fridge died. It's awesome. And so we ordered a new fridge. And in doing so, because our appliances didn't match, we went ahead and replaced all the appliances because that was a smart decision for resale to make sure your appliances match. And when the appliances came, the refrigerator did not fit, even though I had the measurements because I had done all of the work to get estimates before. So we had an accidental kitchen remodel last summer. And thanks to Coastal Cabinets by Jenna here at the oceanfront and Trenco, also at the oceanfront, but also in Suffolk, we have a beautiful kitchen. So that is kind of the start of my story about looking at, we did look at floors, we looked at kitchen and decided based off of where it was going to take the house, we weren't going to do it. Now we ended up having to do it, but that's the accidental kitchen remodel. So how do I know what updates to do before selling? If you've been keeping your eye on the market to see if a home pops up that better fits your needs, you're probably also making a mental list of, what are you going to have to do before you actually sell your home? Other than just, and I know we've talked about, I call it pre-packing, but decluttering or getting rid of stuff, emptying out the house a little bit. What else do you have to do? It's likely you have a few projects to complete prior to putting the house, putting the for sale sign in the ground. And you may think one of those is installing brand new quartz countertops. Again, call Trenco. Or you may think tackling, an expensive bathroom remodel is in the plans. But I'm going to talk about it today about what you need to focus on. So I'm going to get a drink real quick. I'll grab a drink and let's chat. So again, if you have questions, drop them below. If you're watching the watch party, I'll jump on there at the end and just see if there's questions there. But so number one, check the condition of your house. What's the overall condition of the house? Are there minor touch-ups that need to be made? Torn window screens, a door needs a fresh coat of paint, scuffed floors, dirty windows, overgrown landscaping, You want to start with the basics before digging into like the bigger kitchen remodel or bathroom remodel projects, because the basics are the most cost-effective tasks, and you won't even realize it, but just doing those small things, it's going to help your home look its best, most cost-effectively. And maybe all it needs is just a few coats of paint to bring, you know, the living room or the kitchen or even, you know, the trim on the outside to bring it back to life to what you're used to. Try walking through your home, start at the front door, and try it from like the buyer's perspective with fresh eyes. We live in our home a lot differently than buyers see our homes. And I actually had this conversation with Wayne a couple of months ago, I think, because I said at some point we're going to have someone come in and paint. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, we have all these, you know, the trim's all messed up. And he's like, the trim's fine. And then I started pointing out like all these errors of where we've moved furniture and we've scuffed up stuff. And he's like, I've never noticed that. And I was like, oh, it's been there for 3 years. I notice it because as a realtor, like that, I am in houses every day. So I notice things and they bother me. But you know, as a person that's living in the house, or maybe as a boy, he doesn't notice them. And other people might not either that are just visiting our house because they're not looking at it as a home buyer. But look at those things. Also, like, again, if you follow my Instagram back in, I don't know, it's when we were quarantined, like really quarantined, maybe in May, I took some time and I brass polished our front door handle. And it was free. I mean, it cost the bottle of Brasso. So whatever that was, $5.99. And then, you know, a couple hours of my time, but totally changed our front door step. I also changed out the light fixture and sprayed off the front steps and got some plants. So things like that can really be cost effective and change the total look. But look through your house, and it's different how we live in our home than how a buyer looks at it. Number 2, check out your competition. So if you think that you have to put in the expensive countertops to get the most money from your home sale, you first want to see what's comparable in the neighborhood. You know, do all your neighbors have quartz countertops? Do they all have granite countertops? Do they all have laminate countertops? Do all your neighbors have hardwood floors, or is carpet normal? You know, what's the going trend in your neighborhood? Does everyone have, do you have to do a sunroom edition? Does everyone have a sunroom edition? Or is that just something you think you want and you really want it in your new house? So you think someone wants it on your old house. Is your the only house lagging behind on the updates? If it is, then you might want to stick some money into that area because that's, you know, going to be cost effective. But if it's not, if your house is not, you know, like if there's only one house in the neighborhood that has that, then you probably don't need it, because your house is going to be compared to what's in the neighborhood, not what's in a neighborhood 5 miles down the road. What you don't want to do is you don't want to over renovate. Fancy kitchen updates, it might sound like that's what a buyer's going to want, but make sure you're not outpricing your own neighborhood. Again, you know, like I looked at what I wanted in my kitchen and our kitchen and what I wanted for our floors, and I was going to spend $30,000. And at the end of the day, I was going to cap where our development was with like another 10 or 15. So I was, you know, and I was looking at it, and we're probably, you know, at that point we were thinking we were going to be there for another 2 or 3 years. So it's like, you know, is it worth basically throwing $10,000 or $15,000 down the drain to like our kitchen and our floors for a couple years? Or do we save that money and use that towards a down payment towards our next house? So there's, you know, you just have to think about that, about you don't want to over improve. Now, if you think you're going to be in your house for the next 5 years and that's worth it to you to go a little bit above, then do it. Just make sure you're not outpricing your own neighborhood. You also want to find out what's going on in the area. Talk to a professional, talk to a realtor, Find out if there's a new subdivision development coming in. It's going to affect the value of your home. Are you in a seller's market or a buyer's market? Get that inside scoop on what's going on in general before making decisions. Number 3, know what the top return on investment projects are, or as I say, the ROI projects are. According to the 2019 Remodeling Impact Report, the top ROI projects are new roofing. It has 107% of the value is recovered. New hardwood floors, 106% of the value is recovered. Or refinished hardwood floors, and that's 100% of the value is recovered. Now in our area, in Hampton Roads and in Virginia Beach specifically, the luxury vinyl planking and luxury vinyl tile is very popular because it is a waterproof option that is very similar to hardwood, because it looks like hardwood and you have it now in the quality that it feels like hardwood, but it's waterproof. So the new hardwood floors again are 106% of the value recovered, and the refinished hardwood floors are 100% of the value recovered. The other benefit of the luxury vinyl is you don't have to refinish them because they're scratch resistant. I mean, unless you're going to gouge them, they're scratch resistant. Your dogs are not going to walk across them and scratch them. So if your floors or your roof are in rough shape, those are 2 projects that could be worth the investment. But again, you want to check your competition, see if, is every, do the houses in the neighborhood have new roofs? Consult with a realtor, ask them to look at the comps, see if you need a new roof. You also want to weigh the cost of the workload and the time versus the payoff. If you're trying to get your house on the market next week or this month, you might not have time to do the roof or do the kitchen or counters or whatever. By the time you get into the time to get the materials, get on someone's schedule, and then go through the process, you might not have the time to do it. And if you want to do it right, it might not be worth it. So rather than go through the time and the hassle, it may be better just to price your house appropriately rather than spend that money and the hassle. So in that case, you may want to focus again on just those smaller cosmetic updates that give your space, a style boost and attract more buyers. So again, the 3 things I would suggest is 1, check the condition of your home. Look for those smaller, easier, more cost-effective options. 2, check out the competition. And then 3, know your top ROI projects and what's going to help you. And then I'll finish it with now, a year later, Wayne and I were talking about now whether we do the floors. And we do have the option of starting to look for a new home. And we were looking at what we have for our down payment and whether that was going to be satisfactory for us and where we want to be with our down payment versus our monthly payment. And we've decided that we probably will stay in our home for another 3 years, even though we'd said that like 3 years ago. So we're probably going to go ahead with the floors, and then knowing that we're going to go ahead with the floors, and then we'll continue to build our, we have an investment account that we use for putting money aside for our down payment, and we'll continue to build that down payment nest egg for another 3 years, and then we will buy the home that we want, as opposed to buying a home and stretching those dollars right now. Now the funny thing is, as soon as we do the floors, we're going to find the home we want and have just spent the money on the floors. But stay tuned for that one. But anyway, if you have any questions, reach out. I'm going to look real quick at the watch party and see if there's any questions there. There are not. So, there you go. If you have questions, send me a DM. If there's anything you want covered on my Getting Tipsy with Erin, feel free to send me a message, text me, call me. I'm always happy to answer your questions. I'm always here. And I'll see you next Thursday. Bye, guys.